are going.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back for the final episode of Rise of Nyarlathotep. I am your GM, Lucas, and before we dive into this epilogue and Q&A, we are just going to go around the table and introduce these characters one last time. I am not a character, I am a person, and I will continue to be the GM for the remainder of this session. My name is Lucas, my pronouns are he, him. Ian.
Hi everybody, my name is Ian, my pronouns are he, they. I play Weary, the Artificer Tiefling, whose pronouns are they, them. Happily married, only cried a little after that session, a normal amount.
Meg.
Hi, my name is Meg. My pronouns are she, they. I'm playing Alora, the World Tree, whose pronouns are they, them. We.
Pronouns are tree.
Jess.
Hi there, I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her. I will be playing Glyph, the Automata Rogue, whose pronouns are they, he.
And Eve.
Dang old burrito in my mouth.
And
Howdy. I'm Eve, and I am playing TK-37, telekinetic goblin super soldier / dark blade, who is very tired.
And
Both of us are she, her.
And Jason.
I'm Jason, and I played Kratok, the simply superb Lumerian Bard.
All right, before we dive into this, the lovely whimsical music is brought to you by Sirenscape, the land of dreams and hope and destiny. If you too wish to surpass the pitiful fate that this planet has given you and you want to become more than God themselves, then go to Sirenscape. Make that dream come true. Take that music, mix it with your DNA in like a lab scene. You know what I'm talking about. You're like dropping little stuff into water and shit, and you're looking at it and you hold it up to the light and you go, DNA. And then have Sirenscape playing that whole time. Drink that, integrate it into your system. Dreams will come true. That's the Sirenscape guarantee. You can go on their website. It's under their About Us. All right. We are also proudly sponsored by Roll20. Hell yeah. We're ambassadors bringing you the stories that the world isn't ready to hear, but we're telling them anyways. Check out Roll20 for all your gaming needs. Play online. Play with friends in person, all staring at the same screen if you're kind of like into that kind of thing. Or, just look at the screen by yourself as you're reading through stuff. They have all the maps, characters, everything set up for you, so you don't even need to do any work. It is literally the easiest way to play any of these games. Check out Roll20. Okay. It's the last time people blew up. We ended the game. It's pretty good. We had a lovely time as we had that final boss battle. We combined the powers of the Dark Blade and the Bright Blade, and we had destroyed the spawn of Nyarlathotep that was entering into this world, and Alora had managed to become one with the world tree, and these roots and vines and everything were going around this explosion to keep it in. And that's where we last saw our characters, as Kratok was flying like a bird out of hell, getting away from this explosion, and Alora was doing everything to contain it as we watched Glyph, TK, Trust, Weary, all being consumed by this horrid light. The screeching and screaming was beyond anything anyone could deal with or comprehend, and Alora, you entered into this new form. You have never looked through a tree's eyes before. Yeah, they got eyes. You see everything all around you. You see everything, all the tunnels that are set up inside you with little mice creatures are running around and other little things. You see the large chamber where this explosion is happening. You feel all these roots that are stretching out into the ground, your branches that are reaching up to the air, the leaves that are suddenly sprouting into existence. And you feel this intense connection to this divinity. And you're looking down, and it is happening in slow motion as you are watching your friends be ripped apart. You find yourself standing almost like this invisible platform, looking down. You're looking at your friends, everything that's happening, slowly, inch by inch, as this light is expanding, and you look over and there's a dwarf who's standing not too far from you. They have golden arms, and cracks are going through the argentium that's on them, and you see the sands of time is falling through these cracks. On their face is a golden mask of a smiling dwarf, their long beard flowing outward as they turn towards you. What do you say?
What?
I think you became one with this tree.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Although, to be honest, I don't know what was, but this definitely wasn't on the agenda. Well, not yet. I don't know. Are you, names?
Borodon.
Borodon, yeah, you. Are you Borodon?
Yes, I am. And you are or were Alora.
Yeah.
Well, Alora, we have been slowly trying to push your group towards this. I'm sorry that it is costing a heavy price for them, but we needed to stop that creature from entering this world.
No, I understand. Leave it to us to blow things up again.
It is your thing, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of our brand. Actually, on that note, could you save us? I don't think I can go. I don't know how close you've been keeping tabs, but I don't think I can go into anyone's afterlife mind, like what Weary did for us the last time.
I don't think that'll be permitted again.
Yeah, Xerxes would not like that, I don't think. But could you maybe not let them die? They deserve so much better than that.
Borodon looks down at your friends who are embracing one another as, you see some of them are crying, some of them are flinching from the pain as the blades of power draw energy from them. They are staring down at them for what feels like eternity. And they slowly bring their head back up. I can do this, but everything has to have a price. If I do this, their days as heroes will be behind them. The power they've accumulated, the abilities they've mastered. We will have to use these potentials and futures to grant them a different one of peace.
Honestly, I think they wouldn't complain about that. It's been a really chaotic, year. I think that's okay. Oh, no. Bradley. And, my leaves are gonna, kind of rustle, which, no one's gonna notice, but, Alora's, panicking, trying to find the seed.
You see on one of your branches, held out, there is this seed that's sort of swaying in the wind. It has a little face on it. And every so often, a bit of, ashes are coming up from down below. And it's, trying to eat the ashes.
You are.
I think that one's fine.
Okay, cool. I was worried about that. But yeah, if you could just do that, I really don't think they complain about kind of losing all of the almighty power mojo thing. TK might try and kill me, but I'm a tree, so.
Very well.
Yeah.
I look forward to working alongside you, Alora. May we keep this world in as much peace as we can. And they wave their hand, and you watch as all these different kinds of like symbols of clocks are appearing everywhere. And you watch as your friends, there's this energy that's being pulled from them, like this sparkling golden energy that is leaving their body. And there is a sound of displacement as the explosion just continues to ring out. And it is all that you concentrate on, all you can do to keep this contained. It takes so much of your energy that the time you awaken and you're conscious once more, months have already passed. You look out at the area around you. The broken machines, the corpses of creatures, the horrible storm that was overhead, all gone. Life has returned to this mountainside once more. You see little animals are here and there returning to the area, the ecosystem, finding a new balance as you are surging this energy outward, not even realizing you're doing it. More plants are starting to grow, and your perception is taken to one place in particular. You see this little wooden creature running back and forth, chasing a very angry goat. You see they have like a few little branches that are sticking off their head that end in a couple leaves, long wooden nose. Their form is very like more bulbous as they're running around, these arms sticking outwards, as you hear, "Wait up! No, I want to ride you!"
Bradley?
What? Oh, you're awake. Hi. I got bigger.
I can see that. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like king of this area now. Everyone thinks I'm real cool.
Is that why they all run away from you?
I think it's like a respect thing. I'm not sure yet. I'm still only a few months old. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
How are you doing? You look pretty big.
I have never felt more grounded and centered in my life.
I don't feel any anxiety from you.
It's weird.
What's that like?
Come back to me in a few months after I've gotten used to it. Have you seen the others or heard from them yet? Are they okay?
I don't know. I didn't really see any of their bodies. I fell as a little seed. Whee! I was falling from the branch and I landed on a pile of bodies and I ate them all. And I grew and grew and grew to be me. Circle of life.
Truly, I'm glad you were fed at least. Can you go find them?
Yes.
Please. Maybe we can have another party and you can actually enjoy it with us.
All right. And Barley just starts waddling off. And you watch as like they trip over a stone and they start tumbling down a small hill, and then they just get back up. The bark that is constructed around their body is the same material that's been that covers the world tree, so they are almost indestructible as they carry on their duty. We follow along with the one who escaped the blast, Sir Kratok Prisonwing. Kratok, it took you a bit of time to manage to get back. You had to travel once more across these deserts to find your way back to Plumeria. You had to charter a few ships, but eventually you did make it back. Plumeria had changed a little bit. There are a few more rules put into place. There was a bit of fear-mongering that was starting to happen of outsiders bringing in terrible magics and power. You saw that there was a bit of an isolationist movement that was beginning to happen through Plumeria to shut the borders again when they've barely been opened. laws were put in place to ban void magic of any kind after the tragedy, which they have dubbed the Crest Feather Tragedy. But you make it back to town and in Saria, and a celebration is had. As they were worried, you found out that everyone believed you were kidnapped. You were kidnapped by the nefarious international terrorists, the Randos, and you were presumed to be either a hostage or dead. And the fact that you came back by yourself was this great win for Plumeria. There was a heavy inquisition that happened with you when you had to meet with the higher powers of Plumeria. A lot of questioning, some magical questioning. You had to go through like a few agreements of like having some memories of the recent weeks past read as they're looking through what happened. And when they saw the explosion happen with this tree and how the Blades of Power were involved, it was a unanimous decision that the Randos were declared dead. But during this time, you began to get closer to Twilio, and he's been trying to clean his act up. He has been going through magical treatment to help with some of his issues, as well as non-magical treatment like therapy, and Twilio's really just sort of like working through it. But one day you go and you meet Twilio just at like a cafe, as they're trying to avoid pubs at the moment. And you sit down with them. They look across from you, and they take a deep sigh as they take a swig of this incredibly spicy drink to anyone else. So, Kratok, how have you been?
It's been surreal. Doesn't feel like my life anymore after all that time I spent away. But here I am.
You still have a job, you have a title, a grand house now. I mean, everything has fallen in your favor.
Yeah, I guess that's true. How have things been for you lately, Twilio?
Well, much the same. It is difficult getting back into the swing of things. I am missing a very large chunk of time, what happened. Bits and pieces, but I am trying to find purpose. I've been working on myself, but after that, I need direction. Then what? Where do I go? What do I do? My family's moved on. They are married. They have children. Everyone is doing things, and I'm just sort of back at home.
Yeah, I can understand that, Twilio. What do you have any ambitions right now? What would you want to do if you could do anything?
I feel like I've wasted a great deal of time. I want to do something grand, something that makes me feel like I've used the best of my time, and I've tried to help people while doing it.
Well, if you really feel that way, Twilio, I think there's only one thing to do. You know, the election is coming up.
Run against Danny? Danny DeVito? I couldn't. There's no way. Why would people vote for an old bird like me?
Because you're an old bird like you. That's something that Plumeria hasn't had for a while. That kind of stability. And a bit of a overcoming the odds story. People know what you've been through, Twilio. They know you're boots on the ground, down to earth.
And I do have an understanding of the outside world and how it works.
What do you say? I'll pull all my resources. I'll help campaign for you. We'll put up signs. And, well, help you clean up your wardrobe a bit.
I suppose clothes that are already a few years old are far out of fashion. Should probably go shop, maybe at Kyleland.
Yeah, that would be cutting edge, to say the least.
So, Kritok, you do just as you said. You pool your resources, your name, everything behind Twilio. You really help campaign. Everyone becomes aware of this Plumerian who had as soon sunk to the bottom. They had terrible things happen in their past, but they rose above them. They became someone who wanted to help others. They weren't just a noble who was obsessed with nobility, obsessed with parties, obsessed with the frivolous things that have been consuming Plumeria for some years now. They want progress. They want things that will actually help social change. And it was a difficult fight, as you had to fight against the closed door party, who believed that close the doors, worry no mores was their slogan. But you managed to get past that, and it was good. You actually helped Twilio succeed. The Divine Voice contest came, and Twilio showed off magnificent machines that they created, things that could help, new ways for things like irrigation, new ways to keep the dead away from the base of the tree, like that kind of stuff. And people were so amazed by these inventions and talent that Twilio rose to the Divine Voice. And what does Kritok do with the remainder of his time once this happens?
Kritok, after the election, just kind of becomes a bit of a shut-in for a while. He's just hanging out at home with his family, eating good, resting up. And then one day he just packs up a bag and he leaves. He doesn't tell anyone.
You pack up your bag, you grab a glockenspiel, you head on out on an adventure once more. And as you are setting out, you're flying around, you're moving out of Plumeria towards somewhere new, maybe the Forest of Hues. See the multicolored trees and houses. You spot a figure. They at first looked like a large growth out of a tree, but it was a little round tree person sitting on a branch. And they catch your attention as they yell, "Hey nerd, I got something for ya!" And we'll leave there. We go over to Weary. Weary, you and Trust were holding on to the Bright Blade. You felt your energies being pulled from you. You gave up your immortality. You accepted the fate that was happening. You felt Trust's arms around you as your skin was burning. You could smell this sizzling meat of the creature as it was roaring out. But then suddenly, you weren't there. You were standing on a sandy plain, a large open area. You and Trust's arms still around you, holding you tight. You look down to your side and you see there's a small river that's moving through, and right beside it, growing along the banks, are those flowers that Trust had picked for you and left for you when you were in Greenest. And Trust is holding on to you. "It's okay, Weary. It's okay."
I think we... No, I felt dying. This isn't dying.
What?
No, we're not dead.
Oh my god, did the tree get vaporized and turn into sand?
No, that tree's much too big. There'd be some sort of leftover. We'd still see the root system. No, we survived. I think Alora might have done it. Or maybe Kritok, I don't know. Probably Alora. That seems more magic than singing a song about Oh, Kratok thinks we're dead.
Oh.
There's no Kratok here.
Well, I mean...
And oh, go ahead.
Maybe. I don't know. You're kind of wanted.
Yeah, no, it's probably I should lay low for a little bit. So I wanted an excuse to come back here and set things right. Maybe we get to do something nice for ourselves. Build a home. I make more robot fish to deal with the eventual uprising of my firstborn.
Yeah.
Really hope the vaporizing got that. At least slowed him down.
And Trust kind of like flexes their hands, and normally they had like because they were a rune knight, right?
Yeah.
So normally they had like some sigils like on their equipment and then some on their body as well, and they're not there. When you kind of think back to even like some of the more advanced machines that you were working on, the thought just sort of slips your mind.
Oh, this is just like when we were in Plumeria.
I wonder if this is a price.
I don't really mind it. They can't really get rid of my knowledge of farming. And where he like licks their thumb, holds it up. We're following the sea breeze and go that way. We'll probably find place we can settle. Maybe an oasis, some trees.
Trust holds out an arm to you. Well, shall we?
To the next big, boring adventure. Emphasis on boring. And I look around just to make sure we didn't like... And the bright blade was stuck in the ground next to us, and now we have to watch it for the rest of our days. And
slowly, this mutated creature... I'm tied to you, I'm afraid. No, you're good. There is no one around. You are not dealing with anything. There's no cultists. Nothing. It seems like you're in the middle of the equivalent of the Styx of Sekothet. There's just no one around. And you and Trust walk for probably a few days, eventually finding just what you were looking for. A small oasis. There's some trees. There is a lot of open land that is just unclaimed. Over the years, you set up a nice farm that just is away from everything. You start making little connections. People who normally travel through the area who would like stop at the oasis, who would maybe, try to let their dragon horses and whatnot drink from the water here. You would find small towns that are not too far away where you can purchase things that you can't just make on your own. And you even make just some of those really, really boring friends who tell you about garbage gossip that literally pertains to you, not one bit. But it's nice because there's no one trying to stab you. The world isn't ending. And life's peaceful. Tell me about the farm that you have set up.
Oh, okay. So, it's set up near an oasis where he sets up like some irrigation canals, and it starts off as a small cottage, and then over time they add to it, little by little. It's more so made of like sandstone and the occasional like wooden supports, because wood is a little hard to come by in Sekothet anyway. And then eventually some tent add-ons that eventually turn into more bricks, which turn into more of the building. And over time, I want to say like Trust and Weary, given that Weary has no interest in executive producing any children, starts to find that like there are children out and about in like the nearby towns that maybe don't have anyone, and starts to warm to the idea of like, well, I've dealt with the worst and best approximation of a child in Bradley, so therefore I can deal with just about any child in the span between the best of Bradley and the worst of Bradley. And Weary, surprisingly enough, starts to essentially adopt children and thinks back to when Glyph was basically like, and have a brood of 30 children or something. And Weary laughs a little bit and goes, yep, that's how many. And it's not 30. It's never 30. That's way too many. But it's definitely like 10.
27. Oh.
Yeah, it's like 10, like 11 occasionally. One of them like does his own thing, so he like wanders off a lot.
You're sitting down outside. You know, some of the kids are near you as you're cooking something. Just open a fire. The sun is setting in the distance as you feel the cool breeze lift off of the water here. And you're thinking back on your time with your friends and that moment of Glyph and the strange monster child that was Bradley. And one of the kids runs over to you crying, "Help me!" As you look over, and all of their hair has turned into leaves.
Oh dear, this is different.
I was playing with this other kid, and then he asked if I wanted to see a cool trick, so I said, yeah, of course I do, and then suddenly this happened, and then they laughed at me.
Oh, all right. Let's go see if we can get this child. Is it one of ours or is it a new one?
I don't know, it's a new one.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. The only ones with magical potential are shooting fireballs off in the distance.
So
And I turn and I go, I turn and I'm like, wear the heat-proof apron! And I head over to this new child.
You see that there are these other kids that are all wrapped up in these vines as you see this round wooden body, like little arms and legs sticking out as they're kicking this this soccer ball around all the vine-wrapped children. And they kick it through the goal and go, "Score! I won again! Oh, there you are! You were prettier before." And we will leave it there.
Just like hate in Weary's heart, just like, I will not
Bradley.
hurt the tree child. I will not hurt the tree child. You were prettier before. Oof.
Well, I was probably talking about your clothing. So Glyph and TK, you were there beside Trust and Weary. You were holding on to the dark blade. You were both screaming out as you poured this power in. The creature was giving its last death throttles as it just was trying to reach towards you. You drove the blade further, and just as you felt like you couldn't take any more, well, pop happens. And you're staring at each other. You're blinded at first by this sudden light. And you smell salt, like seawater. You hear the lapping sounds of waves, the call of gulls. You feel water as it splashes up over your feet, TK, and you detect that water is splashing you, Glyph, as you look a little over, and then you look around you. There's water everywhere in all directions as you see this small island that you're on.
Did we die?
Are you dead? No, because then you'd be inside the sword. Am I right? Always. Where are we? I don't know. Do you want to are we all gonna go get some food or something?
Some shawarma.
Darkblade. I'm sorry, I'm recalibrating. I thought we died.
You're pretty close.
Yeah, I do feel like shit right now. Yeah, TK's standing up and looking around. She's very confused because she's still in fight mode at the moment.
And this fish sort of leaps out of the water a little bit, and just naturally you reach out your hand to use your powers to grab this thing in the air, and nothing happens. The fish just splashes back down into the water. You feel no connection to the void.
Okay, so
Are you ill? Are you okay?
Oh no, I think it might be tapped out. How are you?
How do I feel?
You have a lot of unreadable files that before were very readable. Like, fuck
Corrupted
extension
editor.
is this? Like, as you're looking at things.
I'm just scrolling through them.
These were things that you knew were like combat maneuvers that you were like your program was evolving and coding for you and stuff, and they are all unreadable.
Ooh, I have lost a good deal of coding. And mostly combat. Like I can't read what these files were at all. Interesting.
Okay. So did we win? This is what happens when you win. I don't know, because I'm not sure if we've ever like won in a traditional sense.
I reach down with my nightmare hand, and I want to feel the ocean water and the sand.
It is a bit of a sensory overload. As you've never really felt sand before, and especially like wet sand and all that. So you're kind of just almost lost to this for just a moment.
Yeah, and
And since you're doing it with your mouth, you're tasting it a little.
Oh yeah, you're tasting
salty.
it. Yeah.
And I'm leaned down, and I let the water and the sand run out of my hand. And I look over to TK and I say, I think we won. We're alive.
Well, shit, I didn't see that one coming. Hell yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I think
Now
there
what?
is I think there is some jubilation. I think Glyph just scoops you up and you're just like laughing.
That just goes jubilation.
Huzzah!
The words appear in the air.
So we're just on an island.
At the moment, yeah. There are trees on here. It's not like a 10-foot island kind of thing. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
like
big enough that
cartoon
you could,
desert island.
yeah, it's big enough that you could survive on here feasibly. But yeah, you're on an island at the moment.
I think we just got like sent on vacation.
I feel like that was Alora's doing. Or maybe Katak. But mostly probably Alora. I hope the others are well. But if we're here...
Maybe they're all dead and you used their life force in order to get here, and now they're just corpses on the side of a mountain. Maybe Glyph.
DK just takes Darkblade and just sinks him down into the sand.
No.
I'll come back for you later.
Darkblade will remember this.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna just chill on the beach for a minute.
They definitely chill, have like a beach vacation.
I think you
And,
spend some weeks here because there's food, you find water. Glyph doesn't need either of these, so you have ample supply, and you
More
just
for me.
you just enjoy your time away from things. Probably definitely the first 5 or 6 days TK was still high alert and refused.
Oh yeah, no, she didn't know what to do with herself.
But
She
probably
just
like the
paced
7th
around doing guard patrols.
The 7th day, you managed to find like a hidden like rum supply that some people had had buried into the sand, and you lose yourself for the next few weeks as you just, for the first time in your short life, you relax.
It's weird. You hear like, you can literally hear TK's muscles stop tensing. It's just a loud creaking sound as the weight slowly lifts off her shoulders.
Oh no, Glyph's like woven a big straw hat for you out of like palm fronds.
She
And
needs it. She's so
Yeah, you've been
burned right
burned.
now.
Yeah.
And with
She's
the
just
rum
horrifically
and the
burned.
rum and the tropical fruit, Glyph's. Oh wait, I might have lost my mixology knowledge.
If it was before the whole adventure, then I think you might still have it. If it was
Okay,
while you
yeah.
were with the Bywoods, then yeah, you'd still have it.
Yeah, I make you tropical drinks and coconuts.
You don't tell TK that these were all Kyle's favorite drinks that you know how to make.
No.
Well, now they're TK's favorite drinks.
Yeah.
I'd rename the file.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is so much better than Kilgore's best.
I didn't know this stuff could taste good.
It has alcohol and vitamins.
Wow.
TK,
I needed those.
you have an ample supply of water as well, so you are hydrated as well for the first time. You know?
Oh, I'm not getting horrible hangovers.
No. You have someone who can literally monitor your vitals, so they are keeping you properly hydrated.
TK is vibing.
Yeah. But I think after some time, the rum runs out, the relaxation, while still there.
We have to leave.
Yeah, you
The
start,
rum's gone.
you start to get a bit bored. So it is a little bit of an experiment of back and forth of trying to build like rafts and whatnot. The real Robin Williams situation of trying to get off this island. But eventually, you do manage to make it back to mainland. And the paranoia sets back in. The two of you are on the lam for quite a while. You don't really settle down for some time, but eventually you do find where your spider horses went. There is this old-looking spider horse ranch. Beautiful, open, majestic fields in the area as you watch these spider horses run free. Their spider silk manes just flying in the wind as they're running forward on all 8 legs, screeching out their beautiful songs. And you see sitting on the balcony, or not the balcony, the porch there, just sort of rocking back and forth, you see Billy. They have one arm that is in what looks like a more permanent sling. And the other one, they're just sort of sitting there and tapping their knees. They're watching the spider horses run free. I knew that when these spider horses came back, that they sensed an explosion and they ran out of the area. Because as we remember from the end of season 1, the spider horses can sense explosions moments before they happen and can flee the general vicinity. And I knew something must have happened. But I'm glad to see you back.
Billy, we are glad to be back.
Why don't you go ahead? Go out to them spider horses. Take them right out into that there sunset. Maybe you'll find a bit of that peace that we're all looking for.
I don't know. Honestly, like, pretty peaceful. Like, I've been Glyph, have you been feeling it? Like, I don't know. It's weird. I'm not used to it, but I've been feeling it.
No, as soon as we entered the valley and I saw the spider horses, I felt very peaceful.
That's because you're looking towards a majestic arachnid steed in its truest free form, parkouring across the plains as spider horses do.
I mean, we have been traveling nonstop, and I kind of look and, Billy's, he's not older, but, his arms, up, and this branch is a little older. I'm like, maybe there's some good we can do here.
Are you saying you want to be ranch hands?
Well, I mean, this place is pretty far out of the way. I do like a spider horse.
Glyph's like looking excitedly between Billy and TK.
They tip their hat down a little bit, covering their eyes. Well, I guess if I'm being forced, I don't see why not. Now, you get out there. The spider horses need the stables cleaned. And they get up and they open up the door and they look behind their shoulder. If you ever see someone wandering up here with a lost look in their eye, you let me know. And they enter into their place, and the two of you stay here as you're just getting used to this ranch life. And it's good. You have a purpose every day. You know what you're doing. You know the tasks laid out in front of you. You are, fixing the fence, feeding the spider horses, cleaning up, keeping those weird, creepy, little like bat rats out of the area that keep trying to drain the blood out of things. You just have peaceful things to do. You're taking this time. And TK, one day you're out at the side of the field as you have like a broom that you're using, and Darkblade's like, let me slash, and you're like, no, as you're swatting at these bats, and suddenly the whole area around you darkens. You feel it gets very, very warm. Fire creates a ring around you, illuminates. These red cracks form in the ground as you are looking up at this throne of bones. Sitting on it is this gigantic, flaming demigod, Varkashka. Their eyes are staring down at you as you feel very small again. You feel panicked. The whole drive to fight is boiling back up into you. It's been a long time. And Varkashka leans down towards you. We had a deal.
Yeah. We did. But as far as I can tell, nothing was exchanged between us. I didn't get what I wanted out of it. You didn't get what you wanted out of it.
You were to prove yourself. You were to keep the powers within this land, and now the denizens of the far realms grow stronger.
Man, what do you want from me? I did what I could, and I wound up getting blown up 3 fucking times. I'm pretty sure I started a couple of wars. I died, like, a lot. I got stuck with a dark blade in me, so I can't even, like, really die. Like, I did what I could. If that's not enough for you, fuck off, all right? I don't want it anymore. I'm done. I'm fucking tired, man.
They glance over your shoulder and you see in the distance this illuminated glyph just feeding spider horses. I say, when things are done, you're useless to me now. But you failed me. Maybe your companion should do your work for you.
Maybe if you don't want a very nasty enemy, you should fuck right off.
They get out of their throne and walk towards you. They crouch down, looking down at you. The heat is immense. Your clothes are starting to ignite. They reach a finger out, and the very tip of this obsidian nail touches your forehead. Child of Yig, the eyes will watch you, and not just those of serpents. And you are back. You're back in the field. You're feeling stressed. The ground around you is burned, and you feel a mark on your forehead. And your clothes are somewhat singed and burned. But the sigils of Rakashka that were on your arm all fade away. You feel this connection, this burning energy that you've always been able to kind of like pull on even when you were too scared to just fight to the very bloody end. It's gone. There's no more connection to the demigod of war and destruction.
Yeah, TK props the broom onto her shoulder and starts walking back to Glyph.
Glyph, while this was all going on, you get a phone call.
On your phone, your cellular
Your
telephone.
headphone.
My cell phone telephone. Okay.
So you see suddenly incoming call starts just like going across your vision.
Oh. I answer it.
Hello, hi, is this Centurion Unit Glyph?
Possibly. May I ask who's calling?
Oh, fantastic. So glad we could find you. It's me. I'm Ramirez. I work for the Nostradamus Corporation. It's so wonderful to meet you finally. So we've just been trying to locate you, as you do have very important confidential company property in the form of data in your head. We're just wondering, is there a time or place that we could meet up to just do an extraction point?
Oh.
Or does the ranch
that.
work?
No. I do not want to inconvenience you by you having to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And Glyph's just like outside in a field, like panicking with like a bucket of feed.
No need to panic. We're not gonna take your bucket. We're just really trying to figure this situation out. You know, it's a little bit complicated for you, and it's
Yes.
a little bit complicated for
It
us.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and I scan because I know I lost so much information. Not my memories, but kind of the skills attached to them.
Mm.
And I'm just like, oh, what was it they wanted? And then I land on that very big, very unopened, just Nostradamus Corp proprietary Centurion information. And I kind of stop. And I'm like, yes, one moment, please.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
put them on hold. Put them on hold with some hold music that is some music I saved from Kratok. So it's like Kratok's Glockenspiel.
It's like the actual hold music of our world. Kratok created it in this world.
And I put the bucket down, and I kind of stand, and I kind of just survey the plains and the sun on the grass and the spider horses, because I don't know what this is going to do. But I know Nostradamus Corp cannot come here. They cannot find TK. They have to leave us alone. So I reach in to the giant file and I delete it.
Oh, we just saw that you deleted that file. Sorry to cut through your hold there. Yeah, that was... Okay, I see what game you're playing. All right, fantastic. But don't worry, we've already established a few depots down on planet side, so maybe we can find some other way to sort this out. But for now, I understand. There's a little bit of animosity. We gotta build that bridge back up. Don't worry, I see how you're feeling. And it's valid. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for stopping that stage 4 horror that was trying to break out of that mountain there. That was pretty rough. We almost had to drop an orbital strike. But hey, that continent's still there. Looks like the tree got better. That's fun. Okay, well, lovely talking to you. Talk to you soon, Glyph. Hopefully we can kind of set this thing up. Maybe we could be friends. Who knows? All right, bye. Boop.
She hangs up. I immediately block that number.
You see as it watches, like it unblocks itself, and but you see TK sort of like wandering through the field, burned clothes, like a bit of like a scorch mark on their forehead.
And I feel, that's why I wasn't saying anything to her. I feel so light. Just without that 1,000-year-old file.
Cleared up a lot of space.
Cleared up so much space.
You go up to TK, and TK, you go up to Glyph as the two of you sort of just take each other's hands just for a moment. All this shit around you, and you go to say something, and each of you are hit in the side of the head with spider horse poo. You hear, ha ha ha, gotcha! Anyways, dinner party time, let's go! Change your clothes, you look like a bum, let's go! We travel off into the future. We go over the sea, over the plains, past the desert, up the mountain to a gigantic tree that reaches high into the sky. Life has been brought back all around it. It looks like this place, if anything, has an overabundance of life. And we see Kratok showing up, Trust and Weary. We see TK and Glyph. And Laura, you watch all of them as they're leading the way, almost kind of a little angrily marching after Bradley, who is just beat of their own drum, going up that mountain. Found them!
Nice!
This very powerful voice just reverberates through all your brains.
You mean you're all alive?
Surprise!
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that the rest of them would have lived too, huh, Glenn? No, I think I hadn't even thought about that. Because I figured if we were all alive that we would have all popped up in the same place. Because me and Glyph popped up in the same place.
Do you know I've written songs and they involve you all just having nobly passed away in that combat?
Well, no one's saying they can't stay dead.
You wrote songs about us?
Wait,
That's so nice.
you have to write songs about saving the world. It's like an obligation.
Did you get paid for it?
Were you paid an exposure?
Isn't that
Yeah,
dangerous?
it's pretty much just exposure.
Oh.
Gross.
I was going to send letters, and then I started adopting children.
Oh.
Yes. Also, Bradley needs to learn to play with others.
I won all the games.
You're just
In a
now
way.
figuring that out, Weary?
You know, we never saw Bradley in interaction with other children, and I realized that our attitudes might have rubbed off on him in a very strange way.
You mean how everyone was the enemy and you had to win?
Yeah.
Come to think about it, that's a terrible lesson to teach young children.
And this child who was born and spent their entire life with you. Yeah.
And
Being called a
asked to be
tumor
married.
repeatedly.
Oh man, we really goofed up our one parenting
Sweet.
until we didn't.
Well, so Weary and Trust, you've had children, sort of. TK and Glyph, what are y'all doing?
I think TK and Glyph are currently dressed like cowboys, kind of.
Yeah,
Mhm,
they're
yeah.
like full cowboys.
The tree is slightly confused. It just tilts for a second, like, huh.
Funny story. We went to collect our spider horses and just sort of fell into spider horse ranching. It's very fulfilling.
Like one falls into orphanages and making a farm, similar in scope.
Orphan farm.
No, not that. Not together at the same time.
TK, did you ever get Bubbles?
Bubbles was on the island.
Yeah, where was Bubbles?
So you hear
Where's our cool dog?
this barking resound. From this land of overabundant life, we see this very large Bubbles bounding through the area. They've grown probably 3 times in size.
Oh no, they were already bigger than TK.
And they just barrel through the bushes, ramming right into TK. Cowboy hat going flying as they have just like rolled on over top, and they're so heavy, and you don't have the telekinetic strength anymore.
Bubbles! Ah! Laura, what did you do?
I told Bubbles to go find you guys because I thought I still had something with your scent somewhere in me. And apparently it didn't work. My bad.
Oh,
Imagine Bubbles just been running around these woods just eating animals whole.
Oh yeah, the mountains.
absorbing magic.
The mountains were all surrounding the wild, where essentially it's like where animals are like gigantic sized, running around in there. So Bubbles was hanging out in there for so long that he just grew from all the magic. But you all spend this time together. Food is brought out, and you are recounting of all the things that have happened to you in these last few years since the great battle and explosion. Kratok telling you of tales of Plumeria and new songs that he's written as he started to make a name for himself, playing across the world. Weary is talking to you about the importance of irrigation and how there's actually quite a lot of plant life in Sekothet that can be cultivated and like really losing themselves in this explanation. TK and Glyph are discussing the rules they learned about spider horsing from Billy and a bit of how to pronounce words like Billy. And Alora, you are showing everyone the life of this area, the creatures that you can communicate with, how all the plants and animals and everything, you can feel them all across this planet, and how there's even in the maelstrom that covers half of the world, you feel that there are creatures out there, that there is life that survives in a place where everyone thought there were none. And all of you are enjoying this time reunited. No worries, no cultists, few monsters. as you retire from your life of adventuring. And we're done.
Yay.
Yay. That's important.
That
Oh.
is Rise of Nyarlathotep. The book is closed. I have a million questions to answer in a lightning round, but the book is closed, and your characters are level 1'd, but back safe and sound. Actually, I think Kritak and Alora are crazy high level, but everyone else is level 1.
That's saving the world XP.
Yeah. you leveled up so much after that fight. You only had to split the
Yeah, we
experience between
died.
the two of you.
Had to
so-
get reset.
We had to
Right. It's like a conversation where I was like, oh, by the way, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, how do you feel? The campaign's over. Your characters are... Their stories are done.
Thank God.
It went on
I
for
don't think I can handle getting blown up again and having to like come back. It's like, okay, can we just stay dead now?
I was starting to have to get really creative about how I torture these characters. It's like, I don't know what... I literally ripped Weary apart into pieces. And like nailed their body parts to a wall. What more do you want from me?
They got better.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Figured it out.
Woo!
Yeah. So we asked people to send in questions, and woo, did they ever. We got quite a few. And of course, there are the important Scrump questions. I put them at the top because I know you were all sitting there for 2 weeks, edge of your seat. What's going on with Scrump Nevertree? We gotta know. So the first question that was sent in was, did Scrump get a date? Yeah. Yeah, they did.
God.
You know what? It turns out when they were telling the fib, when they were giving a lie about having a date with a Plumerian woman, they actually later on did fall in love with the Plumerian woman. After the whole destruction of Saria from Tiffany, there was a lot of relief work that was being done by the people who were there, and Scrump was helping out with that, and ended up helping a local baker, and they just kind of started falling in step together, and Scrump started helping out at the shop, and before you know it, love blossomed. So yeah, that's what Scrump's doing. The other question was, did Scrump finally get a tavern? No, Scrump works at a bakery with his soon-to-be wife. So Scrump's happily ever after, avoiding cults, avoiding gambling. He's not allowed to go. Because that was one of the backstories.
So wait, he's doing an illegal baking operation now?
It's not allowed. There's a lot of people watching Scrump because Scrump was a notable person who was in this world-ending cult. So there's a lot of eyes on him. What happened to the wardens? Well, they took a pretty heavy blow from Tiffany killing a lot of them and their higher-ups.
Okay, we don't need to keep bringing that up.
One of the more militant wardens had taken over from Talaros and very much refocused their efforts. Instead of having more of an outreach to everyone and being like, hey, we're slaying your magical creatures, but if you need help, we're here to help out as well. They just doubled down their efforts on slaying magical creatures. So, the more we get involved with society and politics and all that stuff, the shittier it gets. So they're like, let's just focus on what we do and what we do well. So the wardens have kind of doubled down on that. What about Trevitha? Trevitha survived the battle, but she was pretty heavily wounded, as were many of the cleansers in that fight, and ended up having to retire and be more of a teacher for future cleansers. The cleanser program is still going. They are still injecting parts of monsters into people and transforming them into these unstoppable anti-magic fighting machines. And Trevitha is at least trying to do what they can from the inside of that program. Here's a question for everyone. Who or what is your favorite character, PC or NPC, aside from your own?
Billy.
Was Billy? That's fair.
I love Billy.
Billy the
It's-
spider horses and bubbles.
It's Darkblade. As much as I give
Yeah, also-
Darkblade grief, I
also
love
Darkblade.
Darkblade.
Darkblade's pretty
Darkblade.
good.
Darkblade's fun.
I would say Kyle
Kyle.
and Darkblade are kind of tied for the same reason that they're like really annoying characters, but you kind of have to like them for who they really are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you, Eve?
I mean, I don't want to sound like everybody else, but honestly, I've had a lot of fun with Darkblade. There's a reason why I was like, TK is going to bond with Darkblade sooner or later. It's going to happen. She's going to do it. I told you that like when we first picked up Darkblade.
That's true. I do remember you were messaging me about like, I think we're gonna have TK.
yeah,
just, like,
if
really
anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be TK.
I think I had the most fun playing Kyle because Kyle was such an insufferable little shit, and I kept giving him like Paragon attitudes on like certain social situations of like, oh yeah, of course, like we people need a living wage, great vacation benefits, but I will sick my dogs on workers when I'm bored. Like just these conflicting natures of a terrible little whiny person. But I did have a blast playing like Bernard and Billy and Darkblade and stuff. It was fun.
Actually, I
think
take
as
it
much
back.
as-
My favorite character's Tugboat.
Tugboat.
I
Everyone's
was only
favorite.
tugboat for like half an episode. I didn't
Captain
as much
Starchild
shit
is
as
up
I
there.
give, as much shit as I give Ian, Paloma.
Plumo's fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, what a blast.
we started rewatching Owl House, and I was like, "Fucking Ian!" Like,
Sink
I
your
can't
little
stop.
bird feet into the brain.
Yeah.
For the randos, did you have a moment where your character made a choice that was right for them, but you knew would turn out bad or was the wrong choice?
the frog.
Ooh.
Just all of them.
There's a lot.
Deciding to pursue immortality.
Mhm.
Like in general, like that was something that Weary, I knew Weary would want, but is overall bad for them. And I'm glad I was given an opportunity to like have Weary be like, no, I did learn from this trip. I did learn something, and I care more about trust than about living forever.
Mm.
Honestly, that was essentially the entire conceit of TK.
Just all the wrong decisions, but for it's the character.
Yeah,
Kind of
because-
same.
yeah, like the whole TK is always right thing. You're like, okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you should fucking do it.
It's easier than fighting with you, I think, was the other thing too. Because like we knew our
Yeah.
characters would lose. Like Laura tried, and that's basically how we wound up getting chased through the whole fucking Fey forest. Like,
Good times.
I think for Kritok, like the whole desert ultimatum with the people in chains, I think it was a really weird decision. Like he saw right away that like Glyph's getting fucked up if he doesn't do something.
Mm-hmm.
But even though it's not like Lucas imposed, I feel like he's probably kind of traumatized under the surface from that.
I saw you as a player role playing Kratok's trauma, like of it really affecting him, and I was like, oh, all right, I'm leaning in on this then. Yeah. So then I felt like that was a good character direction for that, because it does make sense. Kratok was never really a violent person or like someone seeking out fights.
No.
Oh yeah, that decision wouldn't work for anyone else in the party. I don't think. Because
But it was the
just like, fuck
saddest
those
being
guys.
Kratok. Yeah.
Yeah. That was very sad. Coming off of that, throwing knives at Tyrell Phaetona when we were like level 3 and starting that fight because he was talking shit. Flip probably shouldn't have done that, but I was like, oh, I'm totally throwing knives at this guy.
Jason made a comment that session that I still remember, where it's like the moment that there's an NPC that Lucas plays that is talking normally and if anything confidently, that's when we know this is a real bad person and we don't want to fight them yet.
It's it's like the opposite of the way that One Piece works. Like if someone is big, then you know they're like a threat, but like they can be defeated. If someone is normal size,
That's right.
then they're even more of a threat because they're not like ginormous for no reason.
Yeah, how did you make it this far?
Yeah.
For Lucas, besides the frog dungeon, was there any part of the campaign you had to redo or change because the randos went differently? Yeah, there's a lot. I'll get into it. Was there any stories that the group didn't do? Yes. The first very notable one was you fixed the moons. I had a story where you're going to go to the moons and you had to essentially find a way to restore or have someone take the place of the demigod of the moons, because they were going to be falling out of orbit and just kind of Majora's masking their way down, which is Bad News Bears. And there you were going to discover the whole situation of when they started cutting the masks off the demigods. It was literally my and now I shall reveal to you the villain plot. And you're like, nah, we fixed him. And I went, fuck, I didn't think about that. And so that, I had to flip the script a lot about how to make it more apparent. And I think around then I started focusing a lot on outside cutscenes of what the villains were up to. Yeah, there was also, it wasn't more like things I knew the randos would do. It was options. I did have an adventure for them to go hunt down the dead demigods if they decided to. I did have one if they went to go face Erebitha up in an icy cave that they would have to go fight in. So there was a few adventures, but I all made sure that they were very optional. So it didn't feel like, oh, you fucked it up or anything like that. It was the randos are so busy. They're constantly either chasing or being chased. I just wanted to be options for them if they felt like doing it. So yeah, but that's how all D&D campaigns work. That you will write up a book and you'll be like, it's perfect. But if you want to tell a story like a novel, then write a novel, because your players are not interested in following a very strict line. It's not fun. Everybody wants to have their own input. It's creative. So yeah, future DMs or current DMs who are listening to this, who are struggling with that, don't let loose those reins. You know how to actually thwart your party. Put them in a very normal, free-range situation. They'll find a way. They will find a way to thwart themselves. For the randos, which of Lucas's many hijinks or secret plans was most memorable to you?
Specifically when I was gonna say, Jess, when you pointed out that they were all acronyms, and I felt like the dumbest motherfucker in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm fucking stupid.
I figured those out while I was driving, and I just started screaming in my car. I was like, Lucas!
I was like, I wonder if they're gonna figure out Duke Peyton Thaler. I'm like, it's a weird name.
Still the winner.
Yeah.
But
Eve got him first.
I think I would have figured out fucking Peyton Thaler if I had remembered his name at all.
My favorite was the season 2 comeback episode where we were really confused and dead, and Darkblade was there, and then it panned out and we were inside the Doom Cube, and all of us had forgotten about it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just such a oh gosh, we're trapped.
I like consequences. How about Jason, Eve, and Meg?
I think my favorite is anytime I missed a session.
Oh, and then you came back through some horror portal.
Why is the town on fire? Oh, I'm gone. Why am I on the moon and getting barfed out of TK? What the
That was why I loved that when TK's jaw started extending and just Alora.
It was a lot of, I think it was one of my favorite parts was how you would tie us in. Not quite like a hijink, but it was just how you would tie us in if we missed a session.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, your turn to go get fucked now. And we're like, what?
Yeah, it was good. It was also a very easy, it was a golden opportunity for me to tell another part of the story that I'm like, they're probably going to miss this. And I just put it in.
Honestly, that whole moon stuff was pretty fun.
I felt so stupid. I remember messaging our chat on Zoom and I was like, what the fuck is the falling rock thing? And both Jess and Eve are like, Fallstone or Fellstone, whatever it is. I was like, the fuck is that? This is why I know I didn't read all the lore. And I'm like, Fellstone. Is that a bad guy? I don't get it.
One of them.
Like, it was just chaos every time I would miss. And I was like, who the fuck? And then I was like, who the fuck is Tugboat? Because, like, unlike Jason, I don't go back and watch recaps. I full willingly will just walk in and be like, what happened? And I get a half-assed explanation from the cast. Lucas tries. And then I'm like, okay. I'll go
Good
with
old Tugboat.
I'm very much a yes and person anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But I'm always just like, what the fuck did y'all do? What happened?
I would say, now, see, this one might mindfuck me because I don't know what order things came in, but I told Lucas that part of Kratok's character was that he has bad nightmares.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden there's Morgus, this fucking nightmare demigod. And I don't know if he already had that planned out first, but if that was already planned out, that was a twist and a half.
I did.
When that happened.
I already had like Morgus. I was always gonna have Morgus like show up to just be like, it was for me, it was like my first kind of way to normalize horror for all of you. So I could ease you in for the nightmare creations I would give you for the rest of the campaign. So I needed like to slowly bring you in. So Morgus was the first step of that. And then when you said you were having all these nightmares and stuff from the bird song, and you were linking it to like Plumeria's like ancestral past that was passed along, it was just a really easy and good tie-in.
I figured it out. TK being happily married at one point.
Twist.
Your story had a lot of threads in it. Do you ever worry about not wrapping everything up? No, I don't. I really don't. I make as much fun stuff as I feel like making, and I will forget about a third of it, and I'll remember it last minute. And will I deal with it? I don't know. But that's how stories work. That's how real life works. Do you remember that thing? You're like, God, do this on the weekend. No, you fucking don't. You go and relax on the weekend because you're tired. That's there are parts in stories that just won't be resolved or they won't be explained away. And there's some of these questions that I won't answer, like the next one. What was Gregor O'Connell looking for? Where did Gregor O'Connell go during the fight? They were doing their job and they were getting their stuff. Gregor O'Connell is busy. They had a job to do. They always have a job to do, and they do it well. And they did it. They completed their job. So that's good. How did Gregor O'Connell find the randos? It was real easy. They blew up a town. So it's pretty easy to link them towards that. And they signed up. Gregor O'Connell was like one of the heads of the Adventurers Guild because they put so much funding into it. So they were able to use those connections to find like who blew up this town, then link it to the masks, then start working with them. Let's see here. What happened to the Doom Cube? It fell. I think I explained like all the blood came rushing out of it.
Yeah. We undid it.
Yeah, so all the blood came rushing out. All the souls popped into the sky. Good times. They moved on. They're happy.
It's like Scientology.
Or maybe they're not.
Yeah.
There was a plane.
Yeah.
There was a but the cube fell down and basically it's inert and it crushed what was left of Greenest. So
destroyed Greenest twice.
yeah, you did. There was
starting to rebuild.
there was no rebuilding happening underneath this giant floating bloody Rubik's cube. Everyone
That's
was
probably for the best.
they're
Yeah.
like, we're not gonna put the housing there. That's why we'll put the new
Somebody started
orphanage.
building a theme park under it.
Yeah.
It's just like a weird monument, just like a big
Welcome
old
to Doom
cube.
Cube Land.
So these two questions are tied together. What was the plan with the God Hammer the trio stole? And why was Titus's body full of bright blades? They were trying to artificially create more blades of power, but basically the best they could do was cheap discount knockoffs, and they had to kill a lot of people to do it. So they kind of gave up on that. But I did leave a lot of hints about it, but I was pretty vague. Nobody ever really kind of chased after that story piece, which is fine. Essentially, they were just trying to create more blades of power because they were having a hard time getting the dark blade from you all, and they had to use a robot with a pure heart to wield the bright blade, and they had like a horrid monstrosity that was controlling the robot in order to properly wield it. So they're having a hard time with that. That's why they stole the hammer, though, to forge more blades of power, but they were just unsuccessful. What's going to happen with Zed? Well, they're fighting another super AI, and they're trying to wrest control of an old Nostradamus robot facility. And if they succeed, then that'll probably be another adventure for another time for some poor people who have to go try to stop a robot from trying to achieve godhood. But that's what Zed's working on, godhood. How is the Nostradamus Corporation going to react knowing the planet has life? They're already doing it. I did hint at it when we had like Glyph's little moment. They set up shop. They sit down. They're talking to political leaders. They're talking to leaders of countries. Very much going through all the red tape, and they're setting up stations and trying to explain the situation as best as they can to level-headed people. And there are not a lot of them in this world, so they have to really pick and choose. So that's currently what they are working on. So there's a lot of questions. Just sorting through. Here's one. Meg, what was the decision for Allura to consume Bradley in the Plumerian arc?
There was none.
There you go.
If any of y'all know Allura, everything is an accident. And it's very fuck around and find out kind of accident of like, well, maybe I'll just do this. And oops. Hello, I'm the world tree now. The main thing when we really got Bradley going was Allura, we kind of see takes a step back really from the randos dynamic in general and kind of turns into a parent and is trying to grapple with the idea of fuck, I'm a parent now, what the fuck, I'm like 12, you know. And so in a lot of that we see a lot of Allura's grief when they turn into the Far Beast. That's really what triggered it. It was that really like parental and just rage of like, not my fucking baby. And when everything happened, there was that slight hesitation that we saw because it was like, okay, kill my child and maybe save them. And I get my shit back because I had figured out that Bradley had all my powers. Or, you know, and it was sort of like, well, at least one has an option and probably an outcome. And that was kind of what influenced that a little bit. And it was just like, well, I gotta go take this bitch down because she hurt you, and at least here you're safe with me in my cells. You're safe, kind of thing. So that was kind of what drove that. Was a lot of like paternal just guidance, parental guidance. Of just like you're safer if you're in my bloodstream. Kind of thing than rotting away on this table.
That makes sense. Kritok, was it always the plan to have Kritok be to have a problem with drinking, or was that a real off the cuff moment?
That was from an old joke in high school. Basically, our first day of grade 10 biology, it was a new teacher that didn't know any of the students, so his thing was he wanted everyone to take turns standing up and tell someone about themselves. And one of my best friends like stood up. He's like, I'm an alcoholic. I just thought it was the funniest shit of all time. So I thought it would be funny if everyone had like real problems, and then Kratok's like, I drink too much sometimes.
I remember the demon of alcohol, the shadow.
Yeah. It is a real problem. Don't get me twisted. It is like a real life problem, but it's not like
Not a
world-ending
fantastical
problem.
one.
Yeah.
It's not having a god try to rip you apart kind of thing. It's a problem that you have to see a specialist
secretly being
about.
a robot.
Yeah.
What happened to Forvin? They fucked off. You guys kept blowing up and shit. They didn't want to do that. This is a pretty easy one. Knock that out of the park. Will the Warped Woods spirit show up in Carcosa Online? No, because that takes place in fucking dirty human lands. What are they called? Oh my!
The Foundry.
The Foundry of Steel. I made this place and I don't remember the name. Yeah, no, that's where Carcosa Online is taking place in like a small region in that with a super dungeon. Yeah. Also, the other half is on Earth. But yeah, so the Warped Woods, it has no connection there. What was the plan with all the NPCs in the beginning? The dwarf from TK's past, the untalented wizard, rock troll. Basically, what was supposed to happen if we stayed with the caravan and not messed up the plot so early? You were going to learn a lot about the world, the cult, what the fuck was going on, who the main baddies were. Essentially all the really integral starting pieces of a story were in that caravan that you essentially got destroyed.
And then we were confused for 2 years.
Yeah.
There were so many times where I'm like, all right, okay, I got it planned. This is how I will introduce the story to them. And then, nope.
Run away.
Yeah. Run away,
You
blow
eventually-
up the place, kill people.
Yeah.
So I just started giving cutscenes. And
I was gonna say you figured it out in the end because whenever we found a computer, we would like milk the computer for all of the
Yeah.
information it had before it exploded.
We didn't know
I
anything.
used that old anime trope of, ancient person who has all secrets. Please tell me what the fuck's happening.
Tell
Yeah,
me
but
what
you
a
were
bone
smart.
grip
and
is,
didn't
please.
make it a person that we could just kill.
Yeah, that was a real winner of a choice there.
It's funny how analogous that is to real life, though. Like, people won't listen to like local experts that they know, but they'll read something online and be like, "That's the word of God."
That's the one.
Oh man, I gotta deliver all expository dialogue through artificial intelligences now.
This YouTube video not only told me about Raid Shadow Legends, but also about why the world is a shadow government.
Oh my god. Now I know that I can get 3 free legendary champions and how to tinfoil my head.
Hell yeah.
Fucking government is pay to win.
So what happened to Greta and Horseperson? They joined the Wardens. They tried finding you all, but you all went to the facility, and that's where they lost you. So then they just went and met up with like other areas of Warden groups, and were just like helping deal with the undead and stuff, and just warning about the cult. What was Meg's Swan character up to in the Plumerian arc? Do you remember, Meg? Because I do.
Thanks, one character.
My bird?
Yeah.
Absolutely fuck all.
I will say this was for me because
You were,
every time you were like, "I have stuff going on," and then wouldn't elaborate.
That's my secret. There was no stuff.
I just didn't want to be here.
There was a thing. Yeah, so
Introduce my character. I was like, yeah, we're just vibing.
just having a
I have
good.
no fucking clue what I'm doing here. We're vibing.
You were
It worked out.
a member of the Hive, a parasitic species that infects and takes over the brain, kind of like a Yerk, but it's like a one-time kind of thing, like locks in, and was inside, and you were trying to find other potential political allies to infect. And everyone just kept being weird, so you never really settled on one.
Well, I told you, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this. I was like, okay, find partner.
I was trying
I'll
to
get
give.
the dog. That'll be easy. It was not.
I was trying to
And-
give everyone like a different kind of character from what they were playing, right? Like I gave Ian a very like a more like emotional and like worried about family, because Weary was like detached and like I'm not dealing with this. I have science, and you know, I was trying to give all these things, but yeah. The crest feather, who, what, where, why, and when. Yeah, no. So
That's it. No.
kind of is Lady Bywood. She's fucking around. She's having fun. Why'd she do it?
So
Because it's
excited.
hilarious.
She's evil.
There's a lot of questions about Lady Bywood in this. The answer to all of these questions of why did Lady Bywood do all of these things, because she found it amusing at the time. Why did she put the mask of power on Glyph, who was changed at the time? It was funny until, fuck, they need that mask. Where did they go? And then, like, why did they kill these people? Why did they terrorize? Why did they take out there was another one, like, why did they tackle the people in Port Divinarium? Frustration. Like, she had no care about the value of life. It was very much just whatever, because she's an aspect of Nyarlathotep. And if you've read anything up on Nyarlathotep, they're a dick. Their whole point of joy is tormenting, killing, and torturing humans. So, yeah, they were ambition of Nyarlathotep, and they did what they wanted. They were my fun, evil Batman. TK. TK, did you have so this is somebody asking, did you have a solid idea of Tiffany's background that you wanted?
No. I'd largely left that up to Lucas because TK lost her memories. She did not know. I didn't even know the name Tiffany.
And
like I would occasionally shoot a minor idea over to Lucas, but otherwise, all that shit was just new to me.
The follow-up question is, did you like TK's backstory? This was not my question, by the way. I liked the backstory.
Scotty, hush. Yeah, honestly, yes. I kind of liked the slow piecing together. No, Tiffany is actually kind of a huge piece of shit. She was relatively happy with her life for the most part, but she's a piece of shit.
She was just a merc.
So
she was like, she started as a war journalist and then decided there's no money, so I'm gonna go shoot shit.
Yeah, no, like she's just kind of an asshole and vibing with it. It's like I like the feeling of it being like, no, I used to be a happy and good person, and now I'm this monster. And then the realization, no, she's just an asshole. And you know what? All things considered, I'm largely fine, if not kind of a shithead. Hush, baby.
What would have happened if TK killed the demigods, the dead demigods? It would have been power-up buffs for the whole party. So every time one of them died, everyone would have got something.
Sorry.
It's fine. Instead, I gave all of them to the Brightblade, so it was okay.
Oh, okay.
What happened to Kratak's old adventuring party? They died. Kratak went on this big quest to go to the desert and like seek out help for his siblings, because that was his big drive, was to save his siblings from the birdsong as well as himself, because he was also infected with it, like the worst parts of it. Because there are some people with birdsong where they're fine, it's just recalling ancestral knowledge, but the people who remember how their planet got destroyed are the ones who are traumatized. So yeah, the Kratak made it to the desert, but that was where they died, is when they got there. So Kratak came back by himself. How did Kyle kill Titus? He shot him. What was he trying to do with his corpse? Sell it.
A gun.
Why was Titus full of bright blades? Titus was trying to use the powers and usurp the Bywood family name and become the leader and take out Lady Bywood, and it backfired because it was all faulty technology, and Kyle took advantage of this, shot Titus, and went, I could sell this body for a lot. Look at it, it's chock full of magic. Let's see here. We got one for Glyph. Glyph, why did you want the whole situation with the Bywoods to be used as like have their backstory essentially be like an assassin? Why did you want that direction rather than just being a basic robot butler?
I like my characters to be sad. No, I didn't think too much about it when I made Glyph. I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, haha, they were an assassin. Ooh, and like, oh no, the things I've done, and let me run away. And then like I'm me, so I thought about it more, and then I kept thinking about it, and I was like, that's really sad. I was like, oh no, I can't believe I've done this. And it just became this thing to like overcome. And I don't know, I like the idea of flashing back and the glimpses we saw of Chambers, and Chambers was just like unhinged and scary, and I really liked that Glyph had kind of that comparison, be like, I've got to be better, I have to be in control, like I need to not be like that. So it was fun.
What was the fancy cat at the beginning? Were they one of the mask bearers? No, they were Dick. They were a criminal, and they were trying to make money where there was none, and they were getting people killed. What happened to Greenest? It got smushed. So we know what happened there. It got smushed, and they started just they built like a little ways away from it, because it was like a prime place where all the carriages were coming through, and essentially it became more of a research town, if anything, because they were trying to investigate what the hell is this Doom Cube and how did it get so big. So a lot of researchers moved into the area, and as well as there was still the prospect of trade. What happened to our spider horses? We saw what happened to them. Billy's got them. You're all good.
Yeah.
Fine.
What was Weary going to eat to sustain their immortality? Creative passion. I'm talking about that will to paint, that want to write, that like everything that drives you forward, where you're like, I want to do. I'm so inspired, and Weary was going to eat it and ruin their inspiration and drain their creativity, and he's leaving these husks and realizing what they're doing to survive. And even if they tried to fight it, it was essentially going to be like a human trying to be like, I'm not going to eat all these delicious foods around me. I'm going to have kale. And then they eat all the foods. So it was going to be good. It was just a sad moment that I was going to just, break down Weary's happiness a little bit.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
you're good.
I was honestly fine with either, but when the choice came around, I was like, I don't want to die and be bound to the Bright Blade, because I don't like the Bright Blade as much as I like the Dark Blade. So I made a trade.
You already answered why you wanted the immortality. There's another one here for you. So did you want Weary to, like early on, did you want Weary to get into relationships, or was that just kind of a spur of the moment?
I didn't really see Weary as someone who was like relationship ready or cognizant of wanting one. And then as the story went on, Lucas is like, what's a backstory memory for your death vision? And I was like, oh, let's do the one where like I get broken up with, and then the one where my entire community sees that I'm destined for some great calamity and then turns their back on me. Those will be fun.
And all my friends get to watch me get dumped.
Yeah, and I was like, that'll be fun, because like Weary's like whole thing is like they're like above it all, and they're like they're smart, but they're always putting their foot in their mouth, and like the main thing is like, oh well, there was a point in time where they still put their foot in their mouth and it ruined their relationship. So it's consistent. But then as we got to the Plumeria arc, Lucas was like, oh, Trust will be there, and I was like, oh, that sounds neat. And Lucas was like, it's going well with Trust. Would you like to marry your character to this character? And I went, yes, I would like to do that thing.
Especially in like those high trauma moments, like I could die any day now. I'm trying to save the world. Fuck it, let's get married. let's see what happens.
Extremely healthy response.
Yeah, of course.
But it turned out that it was actually good, and so it worked out.
And I did have it in my head that their relationship would not have worked out through immortality.
Yeah.
Like it would have fallen apart. So it was sad. So when I saw an opportunity to make it happy, I was like, ooh, let me take that.
Let me enjoy a little spin of happiness today.
Yeah.
Why did villains want to wake up the dragons? It was more fun. It was more fun if there was more big creatures trying to kill them. What was the Warped Queen doing with Glyph's composure? Trying to cope with the loss of their spouse. They didn't want to feel the pain, and grief is difficult, and everyone's trying to cope. And so they're like, oh, fuck, I could literally take a robot's composure right now. That sounds great. Let's just hand that over here. And so they used it to compose themselves, because it was too much to think about the fact that their spouse was gone.
My bad.
That was, they were already dead. I mean,
yeah, but I didn't help.
Yeah.
Just doubled up on that grief.
Did Glyph wake up other automata? No, it was the masks that ended up waking up the automata. It was a giant surge of magical power and life being mutated and twisted, which caused a resurgence of life popping up elsewhere, which in turn popped up inside all these robots. Draxir was originally making creatures to house souls, essentially for like family and stuff like that. So that's what I've kind of had tied in. The whole Centurion thing was that they were going to be like bodies for like people who are close to Kratok that might not necessarily be able to go through like the clone sleeve process or anything like that. They need something, but it just was unsuccessful, and so the project was scrapped, especially after they were too dangerous. Let's see here. Who are Primus and Ricochet? Past lives. When Glyph died, or like every time Glyph's soul would pass on the previous glyphs, it was someone dying, then a new one would form inside the bodies. The body was meant to be a vessel for souls. When did Lady Bywood steal Glyph? Let's see my time. I think like it was like close to a century, and really just sat on it until they wanted to use them. How old is Glyph? A couple 100 years old for sure. Let's look at my timeline. I got one written up. Boop. Yeah, it's looking about like around 250 years old. So you're old.
Old.
Fun fact, we slightly touched on it, but Allura was super old.
Oh, yeah.
Just stuck at that age and just never aged. So, and Meg made the point of saying that Allura just wouldn't really remember that they were that old, or wouldn't even like keep track of time. So to Allura, they're like, oh, I've just been traveling around for a good time, but they were probably centuries old, just wandering the place.
It definitely, I think when we had talked about like trying to figure out aging, because godlings are obviously basically mini gods, it was just like,
You just said they didn't age.
I've been around for a couple of days.
Yeah, so you
But
just
it's been like several years, like
But it's the concept of what if a creature doesn't have to worry about time, they just stop keeping track of it. They just don't notice. It just kind of fades. Did TK find the Necronomicon in the Far Realms? What's going to happen? Who found it? Who found that book? Scrump.
That we left him in Plumeria.
I made a
We
comment.
left it in Plumeria.
I made a comment that Scrump was going through the trash one day and found an incredibly powerful magic item. They found the book.
Oh,
They just ended up using it for gambling, so it's fine. It's in there somewhere.
okay.
What if we didn't revive the moon spirits? They crash into the planet. My big adventure. What was going on in Enchantland? What was the meatball demon gathering supplies? They were turning it into a meat town. You saw what happened.
Which
in the Flesh
happened
Brotherhood.
anyway, yeah.
It happened anyway.
What was the power doing? Redirecting power. They were a conduit for ley lines, so they just found it was their purpose. They just sort of settled down. What's the deal with TK's dad? I guess Dr. Yiz, is TK failing on her bargain with Verkoshka? Is that going to bite her in the ass later? Maybe. We just kind of like left it to be really vague. I didn't, something could happen, but yeah, TK's whole thing is when the scientists were experimenting, trying to create magnum opus and like this perfect life, they were essentially using this slime it was like a nexus, a network that communicate within itself that Eve came up with for the magnum opus game. And how I tied that in is that the way it was actually communicating, it was communicating across dimensions, across worlds. And so they started the whole power project of like bringing like giving someone superpowers, like how TK could move things, is because there's two souls put into a body and like potentials and everything, which skyrocketed its abilities. But as a result, they were dying because of all the void magic. And the last question before we wrap this up, because I'm tired. What the hell was Nostradamus' deal? Were they an evil corporation? No. Nostradamus Corporation cares. They're here to save you. They are the line between the known multiverse and the Far Realms. All those creatures trying to come in and destroy, consume, and manipulate humanity, they're the thing that's keeping that back. And they don't always keep it back, but they do their best. Do they have to do real shady-ass shit to keep things in line? Yeah. Are they going to keep doing real things that people would perceive as evil? Yes, but they also do a lot of good. And if they weren't there, then it would be way worse. Possibly it would be over. So a lot of planets basically gathering supplies, sending specialists, and that's what's made up. The Nostradamus Corporation is like made up of like interplanetary coalition that's come together to create an organization to hold back things. Oh, okay. You all heard
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I
you're
meant
good.
to put it in the form and I forgot because school started and I had a panic attack.
All good.
It's mostly for Jess and Eve. What the heck brought on the romance? I feel like it came out of left fucking field and I'm in the game. And I was like, where and when?
I
Like,
second
okay,
that. I
but
was
what?
a little confused where it actually
I was
popped
told
out
about
from.
it like half a year ago, I think. Or like a random DM. I was talking to Eve about it, and then Eve mentioned it.
Yeah, so, like, it didn't always come up, but, like, I tried to drop some hints that TK was, like, sexually attracted to Glyph. Like, it's just constantly commenting on how tall and how like, firm this.
Cool.
I just thought you had a
Yeah.
weird complex
They're
because you were so
tall
short.
and
So
cool.
tall. Oh my god, they
And
were roommates.
yeah, so like I ran that by Jess. Jess was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like, oh, I think TK has a crush on Glyph. And I was like, first of all, amazing. Second of all, why? Why? Like Glyph is a mess. Why? And then we like realized, yeah, both characters are a mess in like the same way. Like they both had amnesia. They both were like turned into weapons against their will. They were both on the run. They had a lot in common. And I think it worked. I thought it was fun.
It's the sword.
Yeah, the sword metaphor
conversation.
really started that. Of,
Yeah.
like weird swords
We're
and
just
weird weapons.
vibing and just immediately agreed. I think we're just going to like stay, at least if it wasn't a romantic thing, I think TK and Glyph would have just like stayed together
Yeah, they would have
regardless.
stayed like a duo.
Mm-hmm.
I have one that we may have covered at the time, but I might have just forgotten.
Ask away.
What was the actual source of the Fleshbear hood again?
It was Tyrell doing an experiment. So Tyrell
Okay.
seeing if they can start creating nexuses for the Far Realms, essentially easier points of power to draw from. And because the Far Realms is such a horrific creation, not creation, it was there before everything, but it's like it doesn't gel with the laws of reality of this world. That's why people had a hard time seeing it, just because their brains couldn't comprehend it. So it's like a perception filter. They just keep on going on.
Oh, I had one final one, and you can feel free to be like, I will not answer you. Why did we keep showing up in the tube dreams? What was up with that? Did that have to do with the Apex, or not Apex, Magnum Opus?
Yeah, that was that whole like the Nexus system.
Okay.
And it was because of TK. TK was so close to you,
okay.
and the whole like
Yeah.
the void creation inside them. They were essentially
It's all
like,
your fault.
yeah, they were essentially.
Sorry.
We can't prove it, and neither can you.
They were like essentially like an antenna for it, right? And it kept like
Oh.
transmitting out, and so every so often you would all kind of get sucked into this like parallel world, and then in the parallel world all the versions of you were already collected by Dr. Yu, who's like trying to figure out like, who the fuck's walking around with my kid? What the fuck are you all doing over there? And like, I'm trying to bring my kid back, but
Interesting.
just was not successful.
Okay.
You get bent, Dad.
Get out of here, Dad.
Trying to hang out with my
busy being a
friends.
cowboy.
Yeah.
You can't tell me what to do. I'm in a weird gay relationship with a robot cowboy.
It just makes sense. But yeah, so where do we go from here? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear chat. Where we go from here is we are going to be starting up another game in the near future come April. We got some behind the scenes stuff going on, but I will not be the GM for this game. What? I know I'm going to be a player. I'm very excited, but I will hand over the reins to Ian to talk about this.
Hi there, everybody. My computer's doing something weird, so if I disappear, that's what happened. But yeah, I will be running a game of Lancer, starting in April, mid-April probably. Give us some time to relax. Unfortunately, Jason will not be joining us, but you will get to meet Anna, who has played with us before. If you watched our Ryutama game with Xander and Michaela. And Anna's been in Lancer stuff and produces Lancer stuff. So Anna knows more about Lancer than I do, which is very helpful for my brain because I've been doing a crash course on it for the last 2 months, but I'm really excited. It takes place in the far, far future of the what do you call your universe, Lucas?
I usually just call it the Balladverse because it's easy.
All right, it takes place in the far, far future of the Balladverse. Nostradamus Corp is still around, but they do more general purpose stuff. The Far Realms as a threat is handled to the extent that it can be handled, so that will not feature too heavily in the story. It is very much a sort of picking up the pieces on an alien colony and trying to see what's going on there. The party will be playing some mercenaries that will be piloting some mechs into combat and punching and shooting heavy ordnance at other robots and some alien beasties. And, hopefully, discovering the power of friendship, meeting some weird characters. I've been really excited. It takes place on an ice planet with permanent bisexual lighting. I will explain later. So I'm very excited for that aspect of it, just from an aesthetic perspective. But it's called Nostradamus Corp Phantom Ice, and it's going to be 8 to 12 episodes. It really depends on how everything gets structured and where I end up. But if I notice that it's running long, I will try my best to
be
work
fair,
within
Lucas
my parameters.
said we were going to be done within a year and a half.
I did say a year and a half, and it took us a little bit over 2 years. So it's
took us for a ride.
I barely missed the mark.
Yeah.
As far as D&D campaigns go, I did not too bad. Yeah. So we're very excited. We're going to be hopping into Lancer. Going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to be, like Ian said, taking on games with a much shorter duration compared to Rise, just because we want to play more games, and there'll be a lot of different cast members. We'll see a lot of different faces. Just try to really bring a lot of people in. So should be good times. So we are going to be doing the Lancer game coming up that Ian will be running, and then the next one after that we're going to be running, which I will eventually be doing more work and casting and all that stuff for, but that's for another tired Lucas's time. We're going to be doing a Triangle Agency game, also 8 to 12 episodes. I talked to the people of Triangle Agency. They have Kickstarter coming in June. We're going to be lining up. While our game begins, I think their Kickstarter will be going, but they're going to be sending me behind the scenes all the finished works of Triangle Agency, so that we'll have full classes and stuff like that. But yeah, basically some fun SCP horrible stuff. If you watched the Quiet Year episode that I had a few guests on last minute, that's where I'm going. There's the child fighting parking lot. There was the skin bucks.
Starbucks made of skin.
Yeah, there was the large rat George Louis who ate the skin building. All sorts of things. And so watch that Quiet Year. It's actually pretty fun. But yeah, so that's the future. That's future of Ballad. We got shorter games coming. A lot of different people coming in. We're going to be switching up. I am going to be not GMing so often. I'm really looking forward to that aspect. Maybe sometimes I'll just be a producer. I'll just be in the back. We don't know. But yeah, so that's future. Cool stuff. And I think let's go around this table. One last goodbye. and we will call it a night because I worked all day. All of us did. We're kind of tired. All right, so I have been your GM and question answerer for the evening. I have spoken a lot. I'm starting to lose my voice. You can find me. I am one of 2 GMs for the Ballad of the Seven Dice campaign, Escaping Carcosa. Check out our YouTube. Things are going good over there. A lot of people are checking out our stuff, which is fun. But the campaign is, if you haven't heard it before, Call of Cthulhu group trying to break people out of online video game. They're trapped in VR game, and those people are in a Pathfinder game. And so the 2 games are intertwined and all sorts of fun shenanigans. We got trailers, we got videos. Go check it out. It's all up on the YouTubes as well as any podcasting app of your choice. Any recommendations I have? Yeah. Get more than 6 hours of sleep. Your body deserves it. You can't run on too little sleep for too long. You keep telling yourself, I can do it. I'm strong. I know I can manage. You can't. Your body will win. And then you'll sleep through both of your alarms and you'll wake up at 8 o'clock to a dog barking and go, oh, fuck, I haven't even made breakfast yet. So yeah, get your proper sleep. I know this is usually Jason's Wikipedia thing, but get your sleep. Ian.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ian. My pronouns are he, they. You can find me on Twitter at Ian_Caliente, which is Ian _ the Spanish word for hot. I'm currently in a Brinkwood game, which is like Blades in the Dark, but with vampires, and we're hunting vampires. And I play a fun little mer person who is skilled at making gadgets and traps. But instead of being allergic to almost every relationship, they are in a polycule. So it is a welcome change from the weary special of I'll never love anyone ever, and then I lied. This person starts off loving people, and it's a nice change of pace. We are also a dual-casted game, and you can find us on Take Your Roll. 1 week is the Vampire Hunters, the other week is the vampires themselves, and eventually we will lead up to a big confrontation where we will figure out how that's going to look. But yeah, check us out. We stream on Mondays a little later than when we stream here. So like around an hour and a half afterwards. So on those days, I finish around midnight and I really want to pass out.
I don't know how you do that.
But it's because on Tuesdays I have 2 hours before I have to see any clients in the morning. So I can take a little nap. And it's working for me so far. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Check out Take Your Roll. They're very cool. And then read books. I read a book called Persephone Station. It's about a cool team of mercenaries helping out some aliens on a planet that are going to be like corporately like used by some real pieces of garbage. And it's a lot of fun. It's a good read. It goes by very quick, and it's got some fun characters. It's called Persephone Station.
Meg.
Hey, I'm Meg. I'm tired. My children are little fucking monsters this week. Yay! On a happier note, I guess, you can find me on Twitter at Narnia's Pants, where I also complain about my students right now. Along with fandoms and randoms and everything in between. And this is all I have going for me. I'll be in the Lancer game. I'm bad at math, so we'll see how that game goes. I have not been paying attention, except I know that the naming system is like a racehorse.
There's a program that does all the math for you.
Yeah, well, I'm still stupid.
Naming your mechs is like naming a racehorse. Have fun.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have fun with Hoof-Hearted.
Yeah.
It's gonna be My Little Pony reference, probably. I say that I have no idea, and don't hold me hostage to this idea. I'm tired.
I will not. It just means that I get to name my mechs horrible nightmare stuff, and you all have to deal with it.
I'm so excited. Unfortunately, my Wednesday game that I was in has been canceled for scheduling issues, because go figure, none of us can do anything in the TTRPG scene because we all have lives. Yeah. Plants. Get plants, drink water. You are a complicated plant. Get sleep. Don't be a dick. That's all I got for you.
All right. Jess.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jess. I am art_fantastical on social medias. This was a delight. This was great. Rise over from the beginning. Watch, it's all on
I thought you meant
YouTube.
us. I'm like, listen, I did.
No.
I've
Okay,
served
let's do
my
it
time.
again, but let's do it different. We gotta do it different.
You can't make me do it. You can't.
It's like all those jokes I made about speedrunning Rise. Now that we've done a completionist playthrough, we can actually do it.
We stick with the caravan.
We
this
got
time?
100% rise.
Gotta hit that frog dungeon.
Yeah,
I know.
if you can actually no clip
Frog
under the
percent.
church and get Darkblade way earlier than you're supposed
Way
to.
earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's all on our YouTube or for a low amount on our Patreon, along with loads of other fun audio goodies that Lucas makes that are super great. And the only other thing I'm doing, I've joined a pseudonym social, kind of a sporadic. It's not a live show; it's a podcast. It's the Holiday Brigade, and it is 3 supernatural investigators dealing with holiday shenanigans, and it has been very, very fun. And we just released the St. Patrick's Day episode like last week, and that was it's just such a fun session to play. So I hope you will listen to that. It's on Pseudonym Social. It's called the Holiday Brigade. And yeah, maybe pet a cat or a dog. If there's a nice animal in your life, just give them a pet.
My cat just came in the room screaming.
Yeah, just like that.
Because that's what cats do.
That's all for me.
Eve.
Hello, I'm Eve. You can find me over at Twitter at LawlessVic. That is, Lawless is in crimes, Vic is in victory, so criminal victories. Hell yes. Let's say since I'm gonna be on that little answer game as my character Girl Boss and her mech gatekeep. Okay, why don't you go check out another Lancer podcast while you're waiting? Bring your own mech. That one's pretty
Good
fun.
name.
I'm liking it. I don't know. Go also you probably do with just fighting fascists in the streets, calling them mean names online. Just do the right thing.
That bare
That's what I
minimum
got.
line.
Yeah.
Where's Spike Lee?
Jason.
Hey,
I'm not gonna let you get away with that one, Jason. How dare you? Oh, that one was good. I'm really mad.
I'm sure the 4 of you will echo this sentiment. Thanks, Lucas, for the campaign. It was very well done. Thanks, Michelle, for helping think up stuff for Lucas where his Lucas brain falters. And thanks, other players, Jess, Ian, Meg, and Eve, in order on my screen for the game.
You.
It wouldn't happen without everyone. Aside from that, man, I need some esoteric but normal, mundane advice to give people. And I'm drawing a blank right now.
Get air.
Touch grass.
When you build IKEA furniture, it's all pictures. Just look at the pictures. It's not that hard.
It's
Fuck
Legos
you!
for adults.
Yes, it
Not
is!
that hard.
It's
Not
Legos
that
for
hard.
No,
adults.
it's
I
really
just
not.
did that! And you know
Not
what?
that hard.
Eat shit!
Okay, I occasionally will mess up putting together furniture. And by occasionally I mean all the time. And I used to play with Legos a lot as a kid. I just think there's a disconnect because it's like a utilitarian object.
I do okay. I just kind of fuck up the lining on it a little bit, but nobody else
Yeah.
knows. It's just me.
Oh, I want to throw the advice: measure twice, cut once. That one's from my dad.
I say cut twice, measure once.
He watched one episode of this show and went, "Why are only some of you acting?" And I'm like, "That's mean. What does that mean?" And he goes, "I'm not going to explain it." And I go, "Okay." And I never watched anymore. So if you're watching now, Dad, I am shocked.
Only
Thank you.
watching the epilogue, going, and all the questions are answered. I don't need to know.
Yeah. And thank you to our viewers. Thank you
Yes.
all for coming on this journey with us.
Well, or best because it's like, hey, how come only some of you have like character voices, like specific voices? Aren't you supposed to do voices like the Muppets or something?
I think my dad thought it was the Muppets, and he was trying to make it square in his brain, and it just did not work. None of us are Muppets.
I've done so many. I did voices that literally killed my voice for days. That when you met the Dragon Dog vendor, I had to also then do a presentation the next day.
Dragon Dog.
And I was like, all right, so today,
That's why you are an amazing GM.
Yeah.
it's a bottle of wine, a lot of fun. All right, everyone. So, it has been an absolute pleasure. Like everyone has said, thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you, Cast, for playing through this ridiculous story. Thank you, Michelle, for reining in my weirdness and then giving me better ideas than what I was originally going to throw. And let us see what pain we can put Ian through in this next game. Looking forward to it. All right, everyone. We are professionals. We are going to raid one last time as Rise Nyarlathotep. Let's see here. I spelled raid right. Already winning. Look at this. So we have the Hype Goblin. It's currently... What are they doing?
So Last was like a D&D-esque kind of video game. If you've played Wildermyth, it's kind of on the same aspect. It's kind of been a lot of fun to watch them play.
Nice. All right. We're going then. Here we go. Hit the button.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, once more. It has been an absolute pleasure. We will see you all before you know it. Bye now.
Y'all come back now, you hear?